Okay, so this is part 2, and you've already seen me do the contour transferring process using this image, but it was blown up. Now I got it on my easel because I want to work on this straight up and down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this image wherever I want it to. But really all I'm doing for the first part of this is I just want to get down and you got to be real careful with this because especially on a canvas that is single primed, and I'm just refining, just going over all those parts of that image. Now, what's interesting is every time I do this, and there's certain things I also do when I'm doing this. A lot of this, I change the dynamics, and I'm kind of looking at certain areas. Wow. I'm changing the drawing structure too. Because when I go into glaze over top of this, if I didn't do this part here, a lot of these lines would be gone. So you have to re-render over top. So this is just the process I always go through in order to do this. Of course I can't see, so I've got to, and I do apologize that my back's to you guys, so I'm going to try to do this. And notice I'm holding my pencil. Of course I'm not going to render, I'm going to get my details in. So that's also another reason why I'm holding my pencil the way I am. Okay, I'm just going to make sure I'm recording this. And again, my only reference really is what I'm seeing here. So I want to make sure that what I got going on here is kind of what you're seeing there, if you can see that at all. Okay, you probably can't see it very lightly, but I'm just going to continue because this is just the process. And I don't really have to look a whole lot here yet. I will do that when I've got the total rendering done. And just let you guys know that this will go to my gallery for sale. So this isn't a student piece. This is actually one where this is what I sell up in the gallery. Lots of work like this. Canvas like this for me goes for, I think, $4,500. I have to price it out, but you know, that comes with time. So I didn't start making that. I'm pretty accurate as toward my drawing, so that's because I transferred this down using contour lines, basically contour transferring process. And all that means is that I used, just like I did on the first one, transferring down all the lines, images, everything down there. And I'm going to be doing another one of my grandfather. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you the process which I go into, including I'll bring in my glaze so you can kind of see that too. It's interesting that everybody thinks this is all fun until they actually do it. And then what winds up happening is it's not so fun. In fact, they really do have a kind of a problem with this. Hey, sir.
Just checking in.
This.
Popping in. You good?
Okay. So, this is just the process I always go through whenever I'm working. And this is my process. So it's like, what I want you to learn is my process, and then when you get your process, then you'll be able to change it. I had somebody yesterday, after I was looking at their value sketches, say, well, I disagree with you. And that's okay to disagree, but I'm looking at different things than you are. And if you've never done this before, what exactly are you looking at from my perspective that you disagree with? The fact that I'm looking at it from a value structure, I'm looking at it from lights and darks, I'm looking at it for, are you following are you following what I'm doing? If you're following what I'm doing, and you say, I disagree with that, and I look at it and you do exactly like I'm doing, then I'm going to ask you, okay, why do you disagree? But if I'm doing this and you're doing that, and when I look over and you're doing something completely different, yet again you disagree with me without following direction, you're kind of lose the argument. So I always tell people, do what I say in the very beginning, follow it, and then take whatever you're doing and add what I'm doing to what you're doing. And that's the whole thing on it. And you want to be really careful with the eyes. There was things on this eye that I last time was surprised I saw. That I haven't seen before. So, and that's only for when you're starting working with large imagery. Now look at that. Oh, that's because that goes down like that. Now I won't be doing any contour. Value sketching on this. I mean, I could, but I've always gone straight into the paint, and that's because I understand the contour process. But this part here, a little more, you get a little more out of it. And notice I'm using this big pencil. I'm not using number 8, number 6, number B, number anything. This is how I've always done this. And of course, people always look at the tack. So if this is incorrect here, they're not going to be happy. So this is actually an English style writing bridle. That was the first thing that was brought out to me. Why are you using this on your horse? Well, one, he wasn't my horse, and two, what happened was she was teaching me to ride dressage, which is Western, and in the process of doing all this, I even had a Western saddle on. So every time you do something, there's going to be a story to everything you do. Now the bigger question you should be asking yourself is, why am I transferring this way instead of the way I showed you? Why am I going with just what I'm seeing here more than anything else? Why am I not going in here and shading it? Because over the years, by doing it this way, I just automatically compensate for when I'm not seeing values. I got my values here, but you have to draw or do those contour value sketches so you understand how to do this, so you can leave that out too. In the very beginning though, I want you to follow that direction. I thought this bridle was pretty cool. Down below here it kind of spirals. You know, above, right about here it looks about the same like any bridle. And since this is the one I was learned on, I mean, what I might do just for the sense of argument here, I might go in and go ahead and just transfer using the pencils. But I'm going to go through a lot of lead, and I'll tell you why. Because this is single prime surface, so it's really rough. Now the first stage of this, I always just go back in and render out my image. My next stage in this is I'm really going to look at and see what I've got here to, like right there, miss that. Miss that. Like I said, I have done these. I have done call for so many years. Ah, that's the reason why, okay. Look in his eye. Was always something. So I'm going to put a lot of detail in the eye this time. And all those things I showed you from the drawing process just kind of like get you to this point. And you got to remember another thing. We make it look really easy. When we're painting or drawing, we're doing things, we make it look easy as professionals. But it's not easy. It's really hard. And you have to be willing to learn in order to do this. You can't just say, well, I can do that. And then what I see happen is, no, you can't. Because if you could, I would be able to recognize your skill based upon knowledge and experience and expertise. What I see though is a lot of anime, misproportion, eyes are too large, and you seem to think this is the way they learned, and it's not. In fact, it's just the opposite. People who do animation, come from a fine art background, which means they go through this. So unless you're willing to put in the work, you might run into problems. So I've never done a value sketch on this, so maybe what I'll do is I might just try that with this. Take a number 8 pencil. In fact, I got one here. Let's see what happens when I do this. Yeah, I'm going to go through a lot of pencil, but I think actually I can show you with this. So I'll go ahead and I'll do that with this one, so then you can see the whole process, and maybe we'll be able to see the horse. But right now it's just basically, I'm just copying down all the lines that I have, which I've always done. The saddle's always been kind of interesting. There's a part in each saddle where Back here it spirals. It's the way they've wrapped it. And so that one I've always been curious on how I can handle this. So it doesn't take long to finish this off, but the real work comes in making sure that what I got is exactly what I want. So whenever I'm getting ready to work on a painting, I never just start the painting. I actually just say, okay, I study this thing. Because the first thing I want to make sure is, in fact, we'll just go through the process of this right here, we're finding out. And you notice I am not erasing at all. That's something that I really don't like doing. Okay. So I got my basic reference lines in here. Okay. So all these things are in here. I'm going to switch because I want to see exactly what happens when I do kind of a value sketch. So I'm going to come in here. I can already tell that this is going to get really interesting really fast in a lot of these areas. Now I'll put a light value in. Now remember, this is canvas, so it reacts differently than paper. And the only reason why I'm not going back and forth is because I've worked with Call at least on about 30, 35 portraits of them. Yeah, I'm not going to get a dark enough image to really warrant doing this. So if this was done on paper, I might be able to get it, but right now, this is not serving a purpose except to waste. Actually, to waste pencil. We'll do it anyway. It's always interesting to see what's going to happen. Again, what am I doing? I'm not drawing. You've shown me the way I've changed my hands. What's going to happen when I come in here? Yeah, I'm going to have to do a lot of... So it's almost like working with charcoal. Huh. You can definitely see that a lot better, can't you? But that's not the purpose of this. Now it should be kind of interesting when I go in here. Guess we'll find out. Grab my pencil sharpener and keep going. I'm kind of liking that. Who knows? Maybe we develop something that I haven't done before that's actually going to make a difference on my painting. So I'm going to go ahead and sharpen my pencil. Because I think in this case I definitely want to have sharp edge. And I'm using an 8B pencil, so just so you know. Okay, so let's see what happens when I come in here. Yeah, it's so soft that it just kind of like so come in like this. Some of these areas, since they're in dark, you know, I don't necessarily have to put them in like the hair here. This whole area is here kind of one shape, so I don't have to worry too much about that. So just so you know that even myself, when I'm coming in here, I'm going to leave things out that I know, you know. And since I do know this is in dark, and I'm going to use a little bit of rotating a line on these ears. Because that draws character to them. And we want the character in the drawing. Because that's what people are attracted to when they look at my work. They're looking for something very specific. Looking for a style, a technique that is associated with me. They're also looking for something that is very connected with who they are. Typically, everybody's connected with horses and stuff, passion. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, okay. So I'm going to and that's the first time I've ever done anything like this with one of my horse paintings. So just so you know, when I'm doing this, a lot of this is not for myself. I'm going to take this. So I also want to see how this reacts when I glaze over top of it, because I can already get that dust off there. So it's not really going to react the same. I'm also able to get a lot of the values from doing this way. But there's always something about trying something new that is always fascinating, because you're always adding something to the mix. because I'm unable to get a lot of different values in there. I'm probably not going to kind of go over the tack. So this is acting like that first value I did, or always do. So it's really light. I don't want to go in here and do dark. You know, I want to go in here and just, and remember what we've always talked about in class. See here, okay, there we go. Okay, we got this coming up there. Protect that. Now there's something you should know whenever you're doing an image or painting. You never want to round things off because it makes them look fat. And even horses, I mean, if they're well fed, yeah, they're going to be that way, but people don't like to see a fat horse. So just so you know. And that pretty much goes with anything that you're drawing or anything you're painting. And as you can see, I'm kind of being a little bit careful here because, like I said, I've never done this with just sketching this out this way. Like this, I even stayed away from the eye. It's something that so just to protect my sketch, I'm not going to go over the light parts that I know are there or the tack, so that I got a reference. Because I don't know how this is going to react. Typically when you do a soft charcoal over top of this and you try to glaze over top of it, it doesn't always react the way you want. So you want to protect that information coming through there. So I'm just going to drop this in like so. And I'm also, the white area that's in the shade, I'm also not going to do because I don't, like I said, I don't know how this whole thing's going to react to the glaze. So because I put the whole time in the sketch, I don't want to lose it because I was trying to experiment. Again, I'm protecting the blaze across Call's face so I can make sure that when I'm painting that, it's exactly what I want. the bridle. Okay, hold on guys. Okay, so I've got this thing pretty well knocked out, just on all parts. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to drop in things. I think I'm going to come up to the saddle. And typically, like I said, I don't usually do this. So I'm going to come in here. This is more for your benefit than mine. So if I have to adjust over top, because I was doing this so you guys could see, and I just wasted how many hours? Well, not really. But it was an experiment, which I'm always in favor of people doing. One thing that's coming up here is that saddle horn. There we go. And I'm going to come in here. Again, values plays a part, so I'm going to treat this also like a value sketch. I'm going to put a little bit of value up there so I know that that rounds off. This right here has to come up. Okay. Again, always with a sharp pencil. Always with a sharp pencil. Howdy.
Yes, sir.
How's it going?
We're going pretty good.
Okay.
How's it going?
Not too bad. Welcome to the class. And your name is?
Efren.
What is it?
Efren?
Hector?
No, Efren. Efren.
I'm sorry.
Efren.
Ethan?